Hello everyone, welcome to my new lecture. In our previous lectures, we have already completed the classification of elements and the graphical analysis of VI characteristics, from which we can determine whether an element is linear or non-linear, active or passive, bilateral or unilateral. So in our new lecture, we'll learn the classification of sources. So write down sources. Okay, so sources. Now see, initially the sources are classified into two types. One is independent source and the other is dependent source. Okay, so independent source and dependent source. Further, this independent source can be classified into two parts. One is voltage source and the other is current source. So this is voltage source and current source. Okay, and this voltage and current source can be classified into again two parts. What? See, ideal and practical. So these are the classifications of independent sources. Okay, so voltage source and current source, and further voltage source can be classified into two parts: ideal voltage source and practical voltage source. Ideal voltage source and practical voltage source. Similarly, the current source can be also classified as two parts: ideal current source and practical current source. Clear? So this is the classification of independent sources. Now moving in the dependent source part. Dependent source is classified into four parts. Okay, into four types. What are they? Number one, voltage controlled voltage source, also known as VCVS. Number two, voltage controlled current source, known as VCCS. That is voltage controlled current source. This is the second classification. The third type, that is current controlled voltage source, that is CCVS. And the last one, current controlled current source, current controlled current source, that is CCCS. Clear? So these are the classifications of dependent sources. First of all, voltage source, that is dependent on some value of voltage. Again, a current source which is dependent on some value of voltage. After that, a voltage source that is dependent on some value of current, and again a current source which is dependent on some value of current. So this is VCVS, VCCS, CCVS and CCCS. Okay, so this is the basic classification of electric sources. Now see, what do you mean by independent source actually? Just like I said here, see, the value of the voltage source, I mean the value of this source, voltage source, is dependent on another voltage. Okay, that is why it is called voltage controlled voltage source. See here, this current value is dependent on some voltage value. So these all are dependent sources. Why? Because the value of the values of the sources dependent on some other parameters. Okay, but why these are independent parameters? Because their values, the values of voltage sources, it may be ideal or practical. Okay, that's another thing, but their values do not depend on any other parameter. That is why they are known as independent sources. Clear? So I will start with the independent sources. Okay, I will start by introducing independent sources. So write down independent sources. And we know that there are two types of independent sources, right? Number one, So number 1 is voltage source and number 2 is current source. Now we know that this voltage source and current source are further classified into two parts, that is practical voltage source, ideal voltage source, and practical current source and ideal current source. Listen, what do you mean by ideal case? Ideal case means you are neglecting all the errors, okay, any kind of error or impurity you are neglecting. So let us start by the ideal case, and after that we will understand each and every error step by step. Okay, so write down number 1, ideal voltage source. Ideal voltage source. And after understanding this ideal voltage source, we can easily understand the practical voltage source. Now see, what do you mean by ideal voltage source? A voltage source having no internal resistance is known as ideal voltage source. Okay, so no internal resistance, that means R in means what? Internal resistance is 0. In this case, the voltage source offers no internal resistance. It means the load voltage is independent of load current. So what is the meaning of this line, that load voltage is independent of load current? Okay, let me explain you by drawing a circuit. Okay, there is a voltage. This is Vs. Why Vs? V subscript S. It means source voltage. Yes, okay. And a load is maybe connected with it. A load having an impedance Z. Okay, it is connected with it. Now, what is the meaning of this sign? This sign means this load is variable. So it is variable load. Variable load. What is the meaning of variable load? It means you can change the value of this impedance. Okay. Now see the polarity of this voltage source. Here is plus and there is minus. We know in case of an active element, this is certainly active element. Why? Because voltage source delivers power in the circuit, which means current will leave from this terminal. Okay, so this is maybe IL. Why? Because the source current is moving to the load, so this current may be known as load current. This is load current. Now we have to prove that the voltage drop against this load is independent of the value of this current or load current. We have to prove that VL, the value of VL is independent of IL, which means what? That means there is no internal resistance offered by this voltage source. That is why the whole voltage Vs will be dropped with respect to or across this load, that is VL will be equals to Vs. We have to prove that VL will be equals to Vs. Now applying KVL in your mind, you tell me what is the statement of KVL. We'll learn it later, don't worry about it, but just for now remember, KVL says that the algebraic sum of voltage in a loop is always 0. Depending on that, if the value of this voltage is Vs and there is no other element in this circuit other than this load, so the whole voltage Vs will be dropped across this load, which means this VL should be equals to Vs, right? This VL should be equals to Vs. And now if we draw the V versus I characteristics graph, that is V load voltage, that is VL versus current. Which current? Load current, that is IL. Now you tell me, is this value variable? No, this Vs is static. It is only variable. The value of impedance is variable, but the value of source voltage is fixed. So if this is fixed, is there any chance of this value to be changed? No. So this value of Vs would be constant, and if the value of this Vs is constant, certainly the load voltage VL will be constant. So the value of load voltage will be fixed at a point that will be VL equals to Vs. Why? Again I am saying according to KVL, this whole voltage should be dropped across this load, and if there is no any other element, this condition will be true. If VL is equals to Vs, it means the load voltage is also constant, because Vs is also constant, this active source is also constant, there is no variable term. It means the load voltage will be independent of the load current. Why? Whatever the value of IL is, doesn't matter, the value of load voltage will be same. Why? Because again I am saying this value of Vs is constant, and if this is constant, load voltage is also constant, so VL will be equals to Vs, and this graph will be like a constant graph. If this is constant, it means there is no voltage drop in this circuit other than this element. Okay, only this element, only across this element the voltage is being dropped. There is no any other element. If there is, now you tell me where the voltage is actually dropped, across some load, or you may say resistance. So it means this is the only resistance, or you may say impedance, whatever it is. Impedance is nothing but resistance. Impedance is the combination of reactances and resistances. So you may consider it to be a resistance. So voltage is actually only dropped across some impedance or resistance. It means, and in this circuit we can see that the whole voltage is being dropped across this terminal. What does it mean? It means there is no other element where the voltage can drop in this circuit. So this is the only impedance this circuit has, which means this voltage source has no internal resistance. It means the internal resistance is 0. Internal resistance is 0. See, there is a circuit where the source voltage is 10 volt. A current may be flowing through the circuit, which is IL. I don't know the value right now, and there is a variable resistance. Okay, I will change the value of this resistance, and we will see that there is no effect of this load current in the value of load voltage. According to Ohm's law, we know voltage is equals to current into resistance. So load voltage VL is equals to load current into resistance. Okay, now moving, we are considering the value of resistance to be 1 ohm. And again see, there is no other element other than this R where the voltage can drop, which means this load voltage VL should be equals to this source voltage. So whatever the value of resistance is, this voltage is going to be 10 volt. Okay, now from this formula, voltage is 10 volt and resistance is 1 ohm. See, IL will be equals to VL by R. Now if voltage is 10 volt and resistance is 1 ohm, voltage is 10 volt and resistance is 1 ohm, then it will be 10 ampere. So the value of this current is 10 ampere. Okay, next, if we change the value of this resistance, this may be 2 ohms. See, again I am saying there is no other element where this voltage can be dropped. So whatever the value of resistance is, it will be 10 volt same. This will be 10 volt. And if the value of this voltage is 10 volt, so VL divided by R, 10 divided by 2 means it will be 5 ampere. Yes, the value of IL is changed. It is decreased. Why? Because the resistance in the circuit you have increased, and in your first lecture I have already told you that the function of resistance is to oppose the flow of current. So it is opposing the flow of current. Initially it was 10 ampere when the value of resistance was 1 ohm. Now the value of resistance you have increased, that is why the current have decreased. Nothing more than that. But see that load voltage is again 10 volt. There is no change in the load voltage. Now I am changing the resistance value again. Maybe it is 3 ohm right now. Okay, 3 ohms. And you know that the value of load voltage will be 10 volt. It is constant. So in this case the value of current will be 10 by 3, which is approximately 3.33 ampere. So just see this column, this one. What? That the value of current is decreasing with the increase in the value of resistance. So from this table, we can say that if you increase the value of resistance in this circuit, only the value of load voltage will be decreased, but there will be no effect with the value of VL. So VL will be constant. VL will be constant. So write down, with the change in load or load resistance, only the value of load current will change, but there will be no change in the load voltage. It is constant and same as the source voltage, right? It means the source voltage is not offering any internal resistance. And see, if it offers any kind of internal resistance, it may be the value of something 2 ohms or whatever. It may have some value of internal resistance. It means this 10 volt will be dropped in both these resistances. One is internal resistance and the other is load resistance. But in this case, as the source voltage is not offering any kind of internal resistance, the voltage is being dropped only in the load resistance. So if someone asks you that what do you mean by the ideal voltage source? By ideal voltage source, we understand that the voltage source doesn't have any internal resistance, or you may say the internal resistance of an ideal source is 0. Number 2, that is practical voltage source. Write down practical voltage source. See, you can understand it from your common sense only. What is the definition of ideal source? It contains no internal resistance, okay? So if I ask you what is practical voltage source, if ideal voltage source doesn't contain any internal resistance, it means practical voltage source must contain some internal resistance, okay? So the practical voltage source is that which has some internal resistance. And in this case, the load voltage is dependent on load current. So let me draw a circuit for you. See, in this circuit, there is a load voltage ZL. Why ZL? I mean load impedance, okay? Again, it is variable. And this is a source voltage Vs. See, in this case, this source voltage has some value of internal resistance. But though it is internal, but you have to show it externally, okay? So I have connected the internal resistance externally. So we are assuming that the value of Rs is the internal resistance of the source voltage. Yes, it is internal, but you have to show it externally. Now you tell me, by analyzing this circuit, what will be the value of this load voltage, I mean VL. See, suppose, I will explain it in the KVL part later, so don't worry. First of all, initially you have Vs voltage, that is source voltage, and in this case this source voltage is being dropped in this resistance first, partially, okay? It is not being dropped the whole value, partially it is being dropped. So some value of Vs is dropped here across this terminal, and the remaining value will drop across this ZL, and that will be VL. So initially your value was Vs, and from that you have to subtract the value of voltage which is dropped here. Now how can you calculate the value dropped here? See, the value of current which is passing through this element is IL. It is IL. And what is the value of resistance here? That is Rs. And we know from the Ohm's law that the voltage dropped here, suppose this is it, I will say it is V, okay? This V will be equals to this current into this resistance. So it is IL into Rs. This is the value of voltage that is dropped across this Rs resistance, and this was your source voltage. So source voltage minus this dropped value, you will get the voltage across VL. So VL is equals to Vs in minus IL Rs. Now I am arranging the equation like this: VL equals to minus IL Rx plus Vs. And if you look carefully, it is exactly like Y equals to minus Mx plus C, where VL will be in the Y axis, IL will be in the X axis, this Vs is the intercept, and minus Rs is the slope. Minus Rs, okay, this is minus Rs, which means the slope is negative. And I have already shown you that if the slope is negative, it will lie on the second and fourth quadrant. So in this graph, the characteristics curve will should pass through this origin, but here is the value of intercept. If there is no value of intercept, then it will pass through the origin. But here the whole graph is shifted by this Vs value. So where it should be passed through the origin, it will pass through this value maybe, which is Vs. Okay, and the curve will be like this. Why? Because the slope is negative, so it will pass like this. Pass like this. Now see, I am not touching the graph here, and neither I am touching here nor I am showing the graph in this negative part. Why? Because we are only considering the value of current in this direction, and if you are considering the value of IL negative, it means you are reversing the direction of current, okay, which is not significant in DC circuit. It is, I am drawing a purely DC circuit, not AC circuit here, okay. This is DC symbol. So we should not consider the negative value of current. We are considering the value of the curve from this in the positive value only. Clear? So this is the curve of VL, which is equals to Vs minus IL into Rs, right? And now tell me, what was the characteristics curve for the ideal voltage source? It was like this. Why? Because the value of load voltage was constant. So now just see, in case of practical voltage source, this curve is deviated. In case of ideal source, the slope was 0, but in case of practical voltage source, it has some negative slope, which is minus Rs. Slope is minus Rs. Clear? Now see, in this example, the source voltage is 10 volt and the initial resistance, the internal resistance of this source voltage is 1 ohm. Now we don't know the value of IL and R, because IL will change, IL will vary when we will vary this value of R. So this value of IL is dependent on R. Okay, now we have to see that whether the value of this load voltage is also changes or not with varying resistance. So suppose the value of resistance initially we are taking 1 ohm. You tell me, here the initial internal resistance is 1 ohm and the load voltage which is connected in series with the internal resistance is also 1 ohm. So 1 ohm and this 1 ohm is 2 ohm. So the total resistance is 2. This is maybe Rs. Okay, I am taking this Rs. Rs means total resistance. Okay, nothing more. So total resistance is 2 ohm, and what is the source voltage? That is 10 volt. So what will be the current IL? It will be 10 by 2, 5 ampere. Why? Voltage by resistance, that is current. So when the value of resistance is 1 ohm, I mean the load resistance is 1 ohm, then the total resistance of the circuit becomes 2 ohm. And when the total resistance of the circuit is 2 ohm, source voltage is 10 volt, it means the value of load voltage becomes 5 ampere. Now you calculate, when the value of this load current is 5 ampere, what will be the value of VL? See, VL is nothing but the current through this element R, IL into this R. So VL is equals to IL into R. What is the value of IL? It is 5. And what is the value of R? It is 1. So 5 into 1 means 5 volt. Now if we take the value of resistance to be 2 ohm. See, the value of this resistance is 2 ohm, but this will be fixed. Okay, this is not variable. Why? Because this is the internal voltage of this voltage source, which is the material resistance. So it will not be changed. It is fixed. So 1 plus this 2, it will be 3. So and the static value is 10. So voltage 10 divided by the whole resistance, that is 10 divided by 3. So current will be 10 divided by 3, that ampere, which is nearly equals to 3.33. And the voltage will be IL, that is 10 by 3 into resistance is 2. So it will be 20 by 3. It is 20 by 3, which is nearly equals to 6.66 volt. Now see, in this case, when we are varying the value of resistance from 1 ohm to 2 ohm, the value of load voltage is not constant. It is 5 volt to 6.6 volt. It is changed. Now again we are considering this resistance to be 3 ohm. See, if this value is 3 ohm, 3 plus 1 means 4. 10 divided by 4 means the value of IL will be 2.5 ampere, and now this voltage VL will be 2.5 into 3, which means what? 7.5 volts. So what we are seeing, that with increasing the value of resistance, IL is decreasing, and when the value of IL decreases, load voltage increases. So when this load current is changing, I mean it is decreasing, then the load voltage is also changing, it is increasing. So there is a relation between current and voltage is inversely proportional. Okay, when IL changes, no, it should be actually, no, this is not IL, it should be VL proportional to 1 by IL. Okay, some may say that, sir, these are same. No, actually this is not same. It means VL is dependent on IL. Okay, now if you write like this, IL proportional to 1 by VL, it seems that IL is dependent on VL. No, value of IL changes first and then the value of VL changes. So VL is actually inversely proportional to IL. It means VL is dependent but IL is independent. So write down conclusion. What is the conclusion? The ideal voltage source has no internal resistance, which means Rin equals to 0. And also we can understand from this that load voltage is independent of load current. And now if I consider the practical voltage source has some internal resistance, which means Rin not equals to 0, and the load voltage depends on load current. And what is the relation? Relation is load voltage is inversely proportional to load current. Clear? So this is the conclusion from independent voltage source, and in our next lecture we will learn the independent current source. So two types of independent voltage source, that is practical